Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is a very special night here as we are doing something completely different from what we usually do. So, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to a original podcast going out here for tonight's stream here. First one ever, exactly here.
Like ever, like no one has ever done podcasts before. We're the first.
Oh yes, forever. This is our new this is our new thing here. So let's jump on over here then. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of That One Gaming Guy. And it's not a Let's Play on Twitch and YouTube. It's just a podcast on Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, let's talk. Let's go. Introducing our guests right throughout tonight here. We've got Zabyrinth over here. Zabyrinth, you got anything to say before we start? Any fun little quotes?
I'm fucking out. I don't know what quotes I could give.
And Rav's over here as well. Rav, do you want to say anything to anybody before we start a little podcast or whatnot?
I am very tired.
Felt that. Very felt that.
This will be scuffed to hell and back. That's all you need to know.
All right, so
I'm expecting much anyway.
So tonight is going to be something unique here. Our podcast is going to be covering a couple of things here. So we're going to be covering a bunch of game-related news, a couple of rumors that we might have been hearing, some things going on, especially with today's date being April 1st going into April 2nd, which will be the Nintendo Direct, talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to talk about some predictions about that, and then maybe talk about some random shenanigans here and there after all that, get some thoughts and opinions on certain things from these guys, and then also from me, of course. So yeah, we've also got just a bunch of random kind of things that we'll just mention that we might be just interested in the future. So yeah, but does that work for you guys?
Yeah, that's fine for me.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, well.
It's a better plan than we had.
Well, let's go ahead and get down into some of the news here that we'll discuss here. So recently, there was a couple of new news articles that happened over like last week or whatnot, and throughout the whole entire week from last week coming up to now anyway. So I have found out that Silent Hill F was banned in Australia, or at least was going to be banned, because I guess Australia has unique rules and regulations, like how in Japan certain things with like blood and gore can't go through, you know? And I guess Australia had that, so Silent Hill has been unbanned in Australia, so it's going to get a release in Australia here soon, which is
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's the new upcoming Silent Hill game that's coming out here. I forget when it's coming out. I have to double check that as well. But
apparently, some people are saying that's going to be coming out a lot sooner than initially thought.
Let's see, Silent Hill F, and it says it does not say what. Okay. Some weird overview said the overview through Google says that the initial release date was February 23rd of 1999. So
that's the first Silent Hill game, actually.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be the first.
So I'm like, huh. But
funny about that, like I don't care much for horror stuff at all, but I knew about the potential rumors about it being banned in Australia. The funny thing about that is, like, they had previously a couple years back had tried to ban like all anime and manga stuff coming in due to a lot of the stuff aimed at young adults and teens over in Japan being quote unquote too sexual for Australia's standards. So they put a law in place. Didn't do anything. It was basically an arbitrary and useless law. You know, countries have a lot of those.
Well, yeah. It just kind of goes with that.
Yeah, it's actually real funny when you think about it. If you look into each country's like list of laws, there's so many that just don't get used or aren't followed at all.
Well, yeah, like that just happens a lot too. Like ultimately, like we'll pass a law that doesn't get used. It could just be some random shit, but yeah, it just happens all the time. But well, going back to it real quick, I'm looking at the overview. It does talk about the platforms that this game is going to be on and whatnot, but it's so conflicting. I guess this is like Google AI, which is another fun thing that always feeds the wrong information all the time, like Gemini coming out and whatnot. Yeah, has Gemini been accurate for you guys?
I don't use AI programs, so I could not tell you.
Yeah, I have no personal interest in AI programs, so I try not to touch them as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can set it off and whatnot, but I mean, Google search has Google Gemini added inside Google searches now, so pretty much when you
there's the AI overview thing that you kind of can't really do anything about, but
exactly, that's what I mean by that.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I don't really go out of my way to use AI programs. I have no need for them.
Yeah, like one of the things that you'll see at the top all the time now is that Google Gemini stuff, which half of the time is not even telling you the truth of what is really out there. You still gotta go to like r/Reddit for what you need, because the one other person may have the same problem that you've got. Right. With that, well, let's move on to the next topic here. So, I actually learned that there was a Baldur's Gate mod that was added to Stardew Valley, which there was a mod added to Stardew Valley, which the lead developer of Larian Studios, the guys who created Baldur's Gate 3, actually looked at that, gave the mod a lot of props and like respect. Like, he loved it. He loved the fact that people made like townspeople like Astarion and whatnot, all the characters in Baldur's Gate. And I think there's a town like specifically made out of that mod just for the Baldur's Gate stuff. So it's really cool that all this was made. You want to know who did not like it? Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, not surprising. Wizards of the Coast didn't like something fun.
What don't they? What do they like?
So what Wizards of the Coast does, they call it copyright infringement on DMCA it. So right now, it seems like the lead developer of Baldur's Gate is calling out Wizards of the Coast and defending the mod as it stands right now, saying this is not anything this mod you don't have to pay for. There's not one bit. You can just download it, and of course, it being Stardew Valley, you have to have the game in order to get the mod. So it's not going against anything illegal. So like it's just some weird kind of stuff where Wizards of the Coast just made another dumb mistake, like how they've been doing. They've been ruining like D&D and like doing some bad fucking things here recently.
If the mod is based off of Baldur's Gate, what footing does?
Unfortunately, Baldur's Gate is part of D&D.
Oh, okay, it's under that.
Yeah,
name.
so that's where Wizards of the Coast comes in. But that being said, Wizards of the Coast are just fucking idiots in general when it comes to this stuff. Like, they're not, like gaming said, they're not asking for money for these mods. It's not like the mods are being unfaithful to whatever fucking characters or anything. It is using an established IP, which, you know, can be a problem at times, but like, it's not really a problem. It's fans just having fun. That's it.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, like the and then not only that, but like Wizards of the Coast is also owned by Hasbro, which Hasbro is also, when it comes to like their stock holdings and whatnot, they've been declining a lot. And the only thing that's kept them afloat is a lot of like D&D Wizards of the Coast stuff. So they could also get a lot of pushback because of like Hasbro most of the time too. Like so Hasbro hasn't really been selling a lot of their G.I. Joes or like all the games that they have besides like Wizards of the Coast. And so they could also influence a lot of what Wizards of the Coast should do, what they shouldn't do, kind of stuff. But I mean, this one fully is on Wizards of the Coast. There's no Hasbro for that, but a lot of like, it's kind of those moments where one's attacking the company, and then it just, once you make the mistake, you're also called out on that. So it's black on both sides kind of thing. You know what I mean? Well, moving on to the next one here, we've got another fun little story here to talk about. We've got the Game Informer has returned, actually. The GameStop's so
I remember seeing their magazines as a kid. Back in the day.
I actually did have a couple of Game Informer magazines back in the day, because I actually did keep that for a while, but I don't think I have any of the magazines anymore. But Game Informer, to remind everybody what Game Informer was a little news outlet that you'd get for having like a GameStop membership account or something like that at GameStop. And then they stopped. I don't remember if it was because they were bankrupt or something like that, but they are now owned by a completely new group, and so we will be getting Game Informer news eventually. But yeah, apparently Game Informer will be coming back here soon.
Now, Gaming didn't mention it, but I think the best part that has a lot of people excited about their return is the fact that not only is it coming back, but it's the OG crew that's coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
good.
it's not a G4 situation.
Oh god, dude, yeah. Like,
Like, when I heard a Game 4 was coming back, I'm like, please don't be like G4. And then I read like, oh no, it's the OG crew come back. I'm like, oh, let's freaking go.
nice. Well, speaking of that, like, how much history do you guys have with the Game Informer or whatnot?
I bought like maybe 2 of them.
2? What do you remember which ones?
I do not. This is like years ago.
I never owned any magazines, but my uncle, who I would hang out a lot with because he played a lot of video games, he had a lot of Game Informer magazines, and I just kind of perused through them.
Nice. I think I know some of them. One of them might have had a interview talking about Death Stranding, I want to say, but I could be wrong. I want to say that it was that.
That would have been a lot more recent, though. That probably would have been one of their last ones before they went bankrupt.
Probably, I want to say that. If not, then it was some other game that I'm just getting the game wrong. But I do know that I had one of those, and yeah, I think I know a bunch of them came in the mail because I like the physical copy. They did do digital, but like, and it was so weird because I remember like. They would be able to send it out through like email or something like that, and I was like, okay, I guess I got a Game Informer email, but I never checked it because like it's if it's not physical when it comes to that, I'm just not as interested in it, especially if it's just coming through my email, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely prefer physical copies of stuff more so now, especially nowadays.
Especially with that.
It's like I only have so much space I can hold on my phone. I'd rather just have a physical book I could read.
It's why I'm just gonna buy the book series that I can get and more or less afford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one book series I'd love to get on my phone. It's just unless I section it off, like getting maybe 6 volumes every so often. If I were to try and do it all at once, I would fucking lose my mind because it's like I think at this point it's like. Last I checked, it was like $200 something.
Damn.
And that's getting all the current volumes of Don Machi, which is it wrong to pick up a girl in a dungeon?
Right.
Yeah. You know what? Let me check. I have my phone with me. Let me check. Let me check this shit. As I chuckle at the fact that I'm still reading through Campfire Cooking, because it's really good.
You know, despite its name, the show has very little to do with actual pickup lines.
I know, it's great. Like, despite its name, it's not like it's not like the main character is like flirting with every woman he comes across in a dungeon. No, he meets one, falls in love with her immediately, and gains incredible power as a result of his unique skill.
Now, I only watched the first season of the show, so I didn't really keep up with it too much after that. Does he still just hardline for that one girl entirely, or does things have been changed a bit?
He's still hardlining for Ainz, but I believe by season 3 or so, he's finally aware that Hestia's in love with him.
You mean he didn't catch the clue in the early
No, he never knew when he learned that she did in fact love him. He didn't know what to do about it because he had the view that that no one should love a god romantically since they're from two completely different worlds.
Right.
And it's due to him meeting other people who basically tell him like, dude, like you need to still at least let her know what your feelings are. It's even better too if you try to read the manga. Don't. The manga skips like one of the most important fucking arcs in the entire, like one of the most important arcs in early Danmachi. Okay. It is a arc called the Apollo Games. It's where the Hestia Familia end up in a war game with the Apollo Familia, and the one problem is there's only one member, and that's Bell. So like all the people so like a lot of the people that he met along the way, so like oh my god, I'm forgetting like half their names. He ends up meeting like a bunch of characters throughout the series, and they end up talking with their gods and goddesses to move over to his group to help him with the war games. I think they eventually just permanently become members. But yeah, no, it's super good because it closes off a lot of it ends a lot of good character arcs. Like Lilica, right, getting her finally away from her abusive god, which is even funnier because he's just a dipshit. The only thing he cares about is booze. That's it. Like he does not care about the inner workings of his own group. He's just like, I just want to keep making booze, and that's it.
Speaking of that, random story that I heard about today. So I never grew up watching this, but it was the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, the actors that were both Zack and Cody and whatnot. Yeah. One of the brothers actually boozed his own alcohol and whatnot. Like at the age of 16, he got interested in alcohol and whatnot, and he actually now owns his own like mead like making brewery and whatnot. And apparently, so it's a whole story where like as soon as they were like 16, 18 years old, they got out of Hollywood, out of Disney stuff, and then went straight into like whatever they wanted to do. Like one of the brothers went to become a photographer, the other one is focused on the brewery stuff, like I said, and then they came back after like X amount of years, but they grew and became their own kind of people outside of Hollywood, which I thought was a unique kind of story to learn about, because I never truly got to grow up and like pay attention to that series, or like the Sweet Life on Deck, whatever, sequel or spinoff.
I watched a lot of it. Yeah, no, Colin Dillon Sprouse's history and story with Disney and Hollywood is really interesting. Like, I think if I remember correctly, they'd stated in an interview during like the later seasons of, or either that or through the entirety of Sweet Life on Deck, I don't remember. I remember them hearing in an interview though that they had a lot of creative control over a lot of like episodes and storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least they had a good sway and idea and was able to give ideas. But no, aside from that, no, their whole story about them leaving Hollywood was definitely one of the better outcomes for young Disney kids.
Exactly, like it's rough out there for Disney kids.
Yeah, I don't remember what exactly happened to Selena Gomez. I think she kind of also just disappeared for a little bit. I think. I know she kind of got into music more so than anything, but I didn't really hear much of her. Demi Lovato had a real crash, though. Holy.
I can't see on my Google Play thing. I can't seem to find a coherent list of all the volumes. Like each version I find has a different amount, and it's weird.
For what again?
For
Danmachi.
is it wrong to for Danmachi?
Dragoon in chat says Selena is engaged now.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I had heard too.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, moving on to another topic that we got here going on. We've got, I did talk to Zab about this last night, but Monster Hunter Wilds just hit over 10 million copies sold worldwide.
Hell yeah.
Give me a couple of days, I'll make it 10 million in one.
Yay! Woohoo!
Because they gave
I'll drink to that.
all players a good chunk of goodies.
Oh.
So that's very nice.
Big chunk of
Gamey and I
goodies.
were Gamey and I think we spent less time hunting with each other yesterday.
Well, there were multiple times. So, like last night when we were playing, we made it a point to go help out other randos and whatnot, just helping out with our builds and whatnot, while also helping out other hunters and whatnot who are like lower level than what we are. So that was what we were doing pretty much all throughout the night. But then there would be some matches where it'd fill up real quick and I couldn't get in, or Zab couldn't get in, and then we sat there building kits again. So a lot of it was just that. But back to the story, they gave us a bunch of goodies there, and then not only that, the fact is on April 3rd all the way to April 4th will be the update for the Monster Hunter, which will add a couple new monsters. Zab, you know the monsters, right?
Yeah, so the Mitsune, which I learned has been a monster since, I think, Generations?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe Generations. I thought it was new to Rise. I felt like it was a really good first monster, or at least new monster. I was wrong. And then a monster that is something you can only fight once in the story. Now you'll be able to farm the high rank version of it. Is the Zoshia, which is the third black dragon I think that you encounter in the entire series. That's something actually I want to know about.
But he's there was the monster that you could only fight once, and they have the update here. Let me see if I can pop it up. Yep, here we go. Let's see if I can make that big. Boom. Booyah. All right, so I will show this off here real quick. Blink. Perfect. All right, so we got a couple of new things right here. The free title update going on April 4th here, doing the showcase. Which showcases a couple of new monsters and whatnot, and new designs. So the Mitsune, whatever.
Yeah, the Mitsune.
Yep, and then Arch-Tempered Raydao, which gives us like a bluish purple kind of design. I want to say that's blue more than purple, but
That looks more blue.
I kind of like this.
First ever Arch-Tempered is a goddamn railgun.
It's gonna be great.
I can't believe we're fighting a certain scientific railgun.
I'll be excited to see the Zora Shira's
yes
designs.
I want to make the Zoshia stuff, but I think looking at how the picture is, I might go with more of the black than the white.
Mm-hmm. Honestly,
I might make both sets just so that I can swap them out, because I'd love if it was just a full black armor set and then a pure white one.
Mm-hmm. I like
the white looks more like
this.
he'd be an assassin.
Like I love the top bits of the female variation there. Combine that with the leggings,
bottom, and you'd basically just become a fucking assassin.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Is like that looks amazing. But another thing that they're adding is the gathering hub, which the grand hub, I'm excited to go to the Grand Hub and whatnot and
So
see.
am I. That's just it's gonna be great with the 3 people I play with.
Well, I mean, more people to hang out and do some more monster hunting. I mean, and also might give us more of events and whatnot to just kind of see and whatnot. So it'll be nice. More arena quests, it seems. Challenges and quests. So yeah, pretty unique stuff there. And then I guess almost getting some outfits, just like how Monster Hunter Worlds did with the Traveler too. Some new gesture sets, so nice.
Honestly, I'm excited. I'm excited to outfit Almo with some cool shit.
Hell yeah! But yeah, back to a quick thing with Dragoon. He says, with a guy called Benny Blanco. So Selena is married to Benny Blanco.
Well, going to be married. She is not married yet.
Can't say. I mean, I'm never ever familiar with like celebrities or stuff like of the like. So
Neither am I.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not Selena Gomez specifically.
Well, just for me,
I knew her.
I don't know a whole lot about them either.
I think she was on Wizards of Waverly Place, if memory serves.
Yes, she was in Wizards of Waverly Place.
Wizards.
There's another. I think there was another show or movie that she was a part of. I can't remember.
Well, I've got a couple more to go here before we go into the big one when it comes to like the Nintendo Switch 2. But before we go, let's talk about another one that happened here not too long ago. So we know a couple like weeks ago, like I would say almost a few weeks to about a month ago, the one of the big developers that made Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, had been shut down recently by Warner Brothers. I don't know, so I want to get your guys' opinions about that. Did you guys grow up with Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, and what are your guys' thoughts?
Shadow of Mordor up until near the end because I never like created my own orc army because I didn't really care too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into near the end of the game, which forced you to get, I believe, 3 Urukai generals, something like that, in order for you to go to the final story. And I just couldn't do it, and I just gave up. And I also learned that said orc generals don't fucking matter because you just end up sieging the place by yourself anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I was just like, fuck off. It was they were good games from what I heard. It's just an absolute shame that Warner Brothers did not do anything with the Nemesis system that they patented.
Yes, exactly.
They used it for 2 games and then never touched it again.
We can discuss more about that here in a second, but Rav, do you have any previous history with Monolith Studios in their games like Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor?
Wait, Monolith?
Monolith Studios.
Is there? Okay, the only Monolith Studios I'm aware, or at least Monolith company that I'm aware of, is the one that makes the Xenoblade games.
So this one is from Warner Brothers. So,
Okay. Other than that, no, I can't say I have. Heck, I don't even have much familiarity with the other one because I don't have a Nintendo console to play Xenoblade. Although I think I could be misremembering it. It's just such an old memory, but I think we had one of the Xenosaga games for like PS2. I think.
Yes, because there are indeed 3 Xenosaga games.
I couldn't tell you which one it is, or if it even was a Xenosaga. I just have like this mental image in my head that is so hard to describe.
well, another
man cutting his head off in front of a little girl.
No. It's more so an aesthetic. Like I think I got it confused with Zone of the Enders, which is a game I actually need to pick up. I want to try that.
nice.
But no, I have no history with Monolith or any of the Lord of the Rings stuff. I was never big. Actually, I still am not really big on Lord of the Rings. So
Really?
I heard about the game. I'm similar state to Zab, where like I heard of them. I heard they were pretty good from what I heard. Saying heard for the 3rd time. But no, I can't say I have any history with them per se. No, not personally, no.
Interesting.
Although the fact that they got shut down by Warner Brothers is kind of funny a bit. Not on Monolith's side, just on the fact that Warner Brothers just seems to be hemorrhaging so much money that anything that you hear about them doing anything, and it always involved them cutting or shutting down something.
Well, yeah, I've been kind of just saying it out loud and at work and whatnot, but like one of the big things that happens with what it seems like with Warner Brothers is that they're focusing on how to make their shareholders happy, but not sure what makes the public happy. You know what I mean? Like they're thinking
happy is not fucking up.
Exactly. It's like they're focusing on, okay, this sounds like a really cool idea, right, guys? Yeah, I think it's right. Then it goes out, it's like, this sucks. Pretty much is what a lot of things are happening over at Warner Brothers, and it's like they cut company parts of the company and sell off certain things or cancel things, like especially when it comes to Monolith. And we were talking about the Nemesis system. They were in the middle of a Wonder Woman game, which was apparently going to have the Nemesis system with it, which would have given it the Nemesis system another game. I don't know how that would have worked out if it was a Wonder Woman game, but either way, they patent the game, the Nemesis, and they have not touched it ever since.
They have not done anything with it since Shadows of War.
No, I'm gonna.
Now nothing will happen.
I'm gonna ask this here. You know, I'm gonna represent the person who has no idea what you're talking about. What the heck is the Nemesis system?
So
how the Nemesis system worked is group of enemies. It's usually predetermined by the game, and it does swap out from time to time. Hell, sometimes they'll swap out without your direct interventions. But say an enemy kills you, that enemy can use that kill to move up higher in the rank. So the next time you see them, they'll be a lot stronger, since they got a promotion for murdering your ass in cold blood.
Okay.
And stuff like that. It was super cool, and it made the game feel more like dynamic and organic, because your character can't die, but the people who kill you or kill others, like generals or what have you, will move up as well. And the game will usually tell you, hey, this enemy is weak to... He'll run from fire, or he'll run from a bug, or a warg, or he's immune to arrows, and stuff like that. And it was just a really interesting system, and they never did anything with it.
So to also add on to that too, like in Shadow of War, which is the sequel to Shadow of Mordor, they added more goblins, more uniqueness to goblins. Like you could have run into a goblin that retreated from you, but comes back and tries to attack you, kind of thing, by ambushing you. There could be times where you thought you killed a goblin, but they escaped death, and they ambush you out of nowhere too when you're in the middle of something. There's what made Shadow of War in the Nemesis system unique is the fact that the Nemesis system is different for everybody who plays the game. So like how you play is not the same how another person would play. It is literally building upon your mistakes and what you've done throughout the game. And so that's what I found was really amazing about it. And long viewers of this channel will know that I did cover a review kind of series back in when I first started out, talking about Monolith Studios and Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. So if you guys want to learn more about that, shout out to the YouTube channel for that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for most of the news, besides maybe some other headlines I can find in soon. But before we go into any other articles, Zab, do you have any things that you want to share?
One of the big ones I noticed, and this is one that everyone can clue in on, because I personally don't have the weapon that this article is talking about, but it's a Helldivers thing.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I definitely don't know.
I'm glossing over it because I didn't really get a chance to read it all too much. But apparently the latest patch nerfed nerfed a weapon again, and people are pissed.
Oh,
From what I can glean off of this article, though, is that this weapon did a lot more friendly fire than it did actually killing enemies. And so people are mad about that, I think? It's called the Eruptor.
the Eruptor. Let me see if I can find it.
Wasn't that the marksman rifle that I was using the last time we played?
It fired like shrapnel.
The R36 Eruptor, which looks like a grenade launcher rifle looking thing. Yeah, explosive rounds rifle looking thing. Gun.
Was it from the demo?
Oh, okay.
Was it from what war bond was it from? Was it from Democratic Demolition?
It might have been. The thing is, I'm not 100% sure because this article is not really. This article isn't doing a good job of actually fucking explaining it.
Let's see. I can probably answer that for you. Let me. Going on Helldivers fandom, which yay fandom with all the ads on it. I should get it. I should get a ad blocker for that just alone. The Democratic Detonation. That's what it was.
Okay.
I think I might know what rifle that is then. I don't think I've ever used it before though.
I don't really use it a whole lot myself. Kenoshi says in the chat, another game that my dad played and had me help him take out orcs. Oh, Shadow of War. Nice.
I'm not good at that game.
And then going back to Dragoon's comment from the from Selena, she was the main character in Wizards.
She was the main character.
Very interesting. Any other kind of interesting news things that you got over there, Zeb?
One of the other things I had found, and definitely this is more humorous for me, more so than anything, is that apparently they're making a proper second generation ROG ally.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, apparently the Ally X isn't a second gen, it's more so just
It's just like the pro variant.
essentially, it definitely upgraded a lot of things. It was a lot better, but apparently this one's gonna actually have like, it's gonna just be better overall, like better processor, like better specs across the board. So that's kind of cool. I don't think I'm gonna get it because I mean, I just bought the fucking Ally X.
Would you think that this is like I don't know the difference between a Nintendo Switch and a OLED outside of the fact that the OLED screen for the Nintendo Switch piece, but would you say that it would kind of be that way in a sense?
Kind of think of it like going from, say, Xbox 360 to Xbox One.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so much better hardware, so it'd actually be able to play some games. I mean, to be fair, with enough jiggering around, you can actually play very intensive games with like a 30 to 80 frame rate, which is what I can do with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Speaking on Xbox 360, Xbox One, my first ever instance of learning like the power of the Xbox One, aside from playing Halo 5 back in the day, was actually with Destiny 1, because I started playing on the Xbox 360.
Nice.
The fun fact is there was a few exotics that I didn't even realize this until I got an Xbox One. But there was a few exotics or shaders that had like special effects, like visual effects on them. Mm-hmm. Like one good example would be the armor for the hunter or the hunter exotic arms, Young Alhamkar's spine. It has kind of like a a bladed spine going on your left arm.
Interesting.
In the Xbox 360, it was just as it described it. But apparently in Xbox One, and how it was originally intended, is that the bones are supposed to move and flow. So on the Xbox 360, it was just static. The bones didn't move or have any animation.
Yeah, I could see that definitely being a thing for like that hardware going into the next hardware kind of thing there. I'm wondering, because like it's the early age, it's like the early stages of that console and stuff like that. So I don't, you gotta wonder with like small details like that they add, how much did they like improve or like it did that like stress out the console at all during its early stages, trying to understand and programming that you kind of want to wonder.
Well, I think it was just the Xbox 360 didn't have the memory for it.
Yeah.
So it's like obviously it couldn't run every single thing, especially if they wanted both consoles to be available to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Xbox One and PS4 is definitely interesting.
Nice.
Because I'd say compared to say the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, Xbox One and PS4 felt like a bigger jump between consoles than those two.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if that's just because we've had the time between the 360 with the 360 and PS3 was just longer, or if the technology actually did jump a lot farther up.
It could have been either or, you know. Just the fact that the fact is like we've jumped so many generations in like art and just coming through games and whatnot. Because I mean, like, you look back literally almost 20 years ago, you got games that are running on 480p kind of TVs, and now we're running things at 4K kind of graphics and whatnot. You can see blood, sweat.
Action right now.
You can see sweat coming off of of the main character, and they weren't supposed to be sweating.
Not me. I'm on that 720p action right now, at least until Saturday, hopefully.
Hey, I mean, hey, think about it this way, Rab.
For the fact that you're no longer playing a true blind playthrough, is better than nothing right now.
Think about it this way, Rab. You are literally going off of like what your phone can process, a 720p kind of HD.
I think he's talking about his TV.
Yeah. Well,
look, OBS has better quality. if the OBS feedback screen wasn't so tiny, I would just stream through OBS, or I'd just play the game through OBS.
Well, why don't you just do what I do when it comes to sharing my video feed through OBS? All I do is right-click the source and full screen the projector source. And it literally will do that for you.
In my defense, I didn't know you could do that.
In my defense, fuck.
This is the Phoenix Wright course case. In my defense, I didn't know what to do.
In my defense, I'm not a lawyer.
But yeah,
I did not know you could do that, but at this point, it doesn't really matter. So
yeah. Well, future
yeah.
Because
funny that you mentioned a phone though, because I was thinking about the like whole technological jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, earlier this year, or technically last year, in one of the mobile games I play, Fake Grand Order, we had a big story chapter called Lost Belt 7: Nahui Mictlan come out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no,
and I've been looking eagerly towards this Lost Belt for the past year, I'd say. Without going into too many details about it, but it's for a specific boss fight at the very end of it. I've been looking forward to fighting it. I haven't fought it yet because new events keep coming out and I keep getting distracted, so I've been able to go through the story. But one big thing about this boss fight is that people are saying in Japan's server, which is like 2 years ahead of us, they were having issues with one of the phases of the fight where it would just lag your phone like to no end, and your phone was at risk of crashing more so than actually dying to the boss. And I always thought I wouldn't have to worry about that because like, oh no, that's fine. It's like I have like new hardware, only to now think about it and realize, wait a minute, I have a freaking iPhone 11. I don't have new hardware. Oh no,
you really don't.
No, like I'm gonna feel the lag. That's for sure. I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about crashing, but I'm definitely gonna feel the lag. That's for sure.
Speaking of mobile games, I do have another story which I kind of forgot to mention. A phone app is actually getting a lot of heat I forget where exactly at, but like some new laws are being pushed into effect for this new game that's like focused primarily for children. It's like a horse kind of taking care simulator game. So you're pretty much getting horses and whatnot, and pretty much like the kid-friendly, what is it? It's just pretty much you raise a horse, take care of a horse kind of stuff. It's called Star Stable from what it seems. And this game's getting a lot of heat because this game has microtransactions. And it pushes it pushes it up the ass for like little kids, much little kids. Not on the lines of like Fortnite or whatnot. Like Fortnite, you can play the game and you're not forced to go and buy these. You can if you want to. The game will stop you from like properly progressing and be like, hey,
you sure you want to pay for this? This costs money.
Exactly. It's like, hey, you don't know if this is gonna come back, but it's pink. It's unique. It also comes with these bonuses, kind of stuff. It's just some things that happen just like naturally in the mobile side of things, and just sadly moved on over to the AAA titles and whatnot. But apparently there are some laws going out and more regulations to hopefully get rid of some of these in other countries around the world and whatnot. Because I know in England or something like that, some places are trying to mitigate microtransactions. Because I know EA had gone to court for this whole entire problem, and like over in EU they are like, yeah, this is not gonna happen, stop doing it over here kind of stuff.
Didn't EA also want to I know it's a bit off topic, but didn't EA also want to put in like actual live advertisements in their sports games?
I think so, and I think Ubisoft also did though. Ubisoft, I don't know if it was like a screenshot, I think, because I didn't really pay attention to it myself, but all I really know is that they wanted to put ads inside the game as you played. Adds to more of their... So, like, you would be in, like, the... I want to say you would be in your menu or something like that, or... And then it'd pop up an ad of, like, another game or something like that, but I could be wrong. I didn't pay attention to it myself. It was something that I just kind of heard from the grapevine, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Now, here's an interesting thought I just had. Would it be worse or better if games with long load times just played ads for loading times?
Ooh, that is a...
So I'm saying what my opinion is on it, because it's just a thought that came to mind. I am curious what you guys think about that idea.
It could work well.
I mean, for the most part, at least you're like looking at something, or like something's visually happening.
Ooh, slippery slope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Very slippery slope.
It's definitely a slippery slope. But like, for example, a case in point example of like games with long load times, Sonic 06. What if just an ad break just played?
Sonic 06 is an ad for a better Sonic game.
Play Sonic Adventure 2. It's like, man,
play literally. Man, Sonic Adventure 2 is jank. Play like fucking at least Unleashed.
Unleashed came out after 06.
It's fine. You really think they wouldn't put ads in after the fact?
That's fair. Or if anything, other like Sega titles like Play Yakuza or Persona 3.
Yeah, play Yakuza 3. It may be jank,
Actually,
but it's better than fucking...
Persona 3 makes sense considering it came out the same year as 06.
Did it?
Yeah. Despite taking place in universe in 2009, I believe Persona 3, at least the original, came out in 2006.
I want to say, to go back on what you were saying about like long loading screens having advertisements. I could see that, especially with like certain games and whatnot, but I don't know if it kind of depends and whatnot, because like how Zap said, it's also a slippery slope where if you are going to plan on doing that, you're purposely putting ads in like that would have if you're putting in like a video kind of thing, you're purposely putting like a 15-second video of like a new game or something like that as like your game loads. And I don't know if I personally would be like happy for that. I think what I would like personally is how it is right now, where you are looking at tips throughout the game as it loads. Like for Monster Hunter, they don't have like any unique tips or whatnot as like the game loads. So I was literally asking Zab last night, how should I use the insect glaive? And I'm searching like all the menus in Monster Hunter, and I found the player's guide, which I could have just if they add a like tips spot for like the loading screens, I feel like that could have helped at least new players and just players understand mechanics. And not only that, just maybe even just make it a little more flashy with like some unique backgrounds here and there that change it too. So it's just
actually funny that you mentioned that, because I know I'm going to go back to Destiny for this, but Destiny actually does that. Like while you're flying between places, whether you're loading into a match of Crucible or Gambit or Strikes, or like at any point if you're flying between orbit to a location or an activity, there is like a little bar at the bottom that you could just press X to cycle through just randomized tips.
Yep.
Like they are very nice, and I don't remember them ever being there when I first started playing Destiny 2. I think they were added later, either at the beginning of Beyond Light or later into it, because I came back at the end of Beyond Light's cycle just before Witch Queen came out, after I took a long break from Destiny.
To add on to that, God of War Ragnarok, and I think God of War on the PlayStation 4 had that same option too, where you can skip the tip that you have if you know it, but if you accidentally hit the button, you can hit the previous button, which will bring back the previous tip so that you can read that again. So that's really unique to have too.
Oh god, Ragnarok had its own problems.
Really?
Phenomenal as that game was, oh my god, the hand holding for puzzles.
Oh yeah, honest.
Ridiculous. not even a minute into like you looking at a puzzle, just figuring out how it works, Atreus to be like, Father, I think if you do it this way, the puzzle will work. And it's like, boy, I'm gonna throw you in the fucking river.
So
someone who grew up with the PS2 Tomb Raider games, I feel like I would just be annoyed to all hell and back by that.
Well,
the good news is that Ragnarok otherwise is a phenomenal game, and I love it. But holy shit, that
What part of you? I couldn't get, as you yourself already know, I couldn't get past the first game.
well,
that was fun to watch though.
I will say from my side, from Zabyrinth, I don't really. Well, when I first played Ragnarok, I really didn't pay too much attention to Atreus giving me too much health. At least when going off of quick memory, like I just didn't really pay too much attention to like that holding your hand kind of stuff. But I do remember the voice actor for Atreus actually saying the same thing, saying, I tried to play the game and I could not stand my own voice trying to help me through my own through the puzzles.
Like, shut up, me, I already know.
It's like, yeah, he got so annoyed by his own voice that he did not really finish the game.
Shut up, me. I did it for the paycheck. I did it for the paycheck.
Back on the topic of tips, though, for Destiny 2, I'm looking forward to, because right now we just entered Act 3 for the last episode for this yearly expansion. Okay. So eventually we're going to start getting news about the summer expansion, hopefully. People are worried it's going to get delayed, but to be fair, Bungie has only stated that it's coming out in summer. That can be anywhere between June and August. But basically, one of the big events that's coming out with Act 3 is something called the Rite of the Nine. See, there's two endgame PvE activities for the most part that are high difficulty for mechanical and just overall encounters. And there's the big ones called raids, which are 6-player activities, and then there's the smaller ones called dungeons, which are 3-player ones. So what Rite of the Nine is, it's basically kind of just a special event centered around different dungeons throughout Destiny 2's history. So I think so far they have 3 confirmed selected right now. I don't know if it's going to be a yearly event or they're going to cycle dungeons if it comes back or not. So far, we only have 3 of the confirmed ones, but they got revamped weapons. They got basically like revamped. They got a hub world to enter each one. There's new. I don't know if there's new mechanics, but there's new difficulty options. But my biggest thing that I'm really excited for, and I hope they add this to more stuff in the game, because one of Destiny's biggest problems, once you actually, aside from paying for all the expansions, is the fact that a lot of the content you kind of want to do with people can be very difficult to just hop in and do, because a lot of it either requires someone who already knows to teach you, or just a vocal fire team instead of just a solo player hopping in and wanting to learn right away. So with Rights in the Nine, what they're doing is they're adding a difficult. I forget the name of it is. So for expedience sake, I'll just call it the hand-holding game difficult. Basically, as you're looking around, like if you look at something that is important to a certain mechanic in the dungeon, like a screenshot they showcased was of I forget the full name of it. I think Spire the Watcher. But there's a mechanic in there where you have to shoot, where you stand in a pool, you get a buff called Arctrician, and then you shoot these nodes and follow kind of a wire, shooting each node to kind of progress the wire to a certain point. Kind of think like the plumbing games on, or pipe dream games on computer.
Or like Bioshock.
Bioshock
Has Bioshock's hacking minigame.
Yeah,
and I've never played Bioshock, so I didn't know that was actually kind of cool. But either way, like they have these nice little prompts in game. Like it's not even like a loading screen thing, anything. It's like if you're looking at it, like a nice opaque, like very thin opaque square will just pop up telling you like, hey, to shoot these things, you need the Arctrician buff. Once you get the Arctrician buff, shoot the node and then follow the line all the way back here. And it's like that's such a neat way to teach new people mechanics. That I hope they do that more with the upcoming expansion.
Nice.
Because I still think Destiny 2 is a really good game despite its issues. It definitely needs something to help a lot of the new people though.
Yeah.
First things first, lower the cost. Holy shit, that's expensive.
At the very least, go the Final Fantasy 14 route of making that you can buy the most current expansion and you get the rest of them.
Well,
For free.
I argue
It's awesome.
how long has Destiny been out for, like, when it comes to Destiny 2 itself?
Destiny 2 itself? Let's see. When did Destiny 1 release? Was it 2013, 2014? Because Destiny 1 went for about 3 years, I think. Because we had the first year, which the 2 expansions, Dark Below and House of Wolves. Then we had the second year, which was why am I forgetting? The Taken King. Man, I remember the hypes around that DLC. That was a cool time.
September 6th of 2017 is the initial release date of Destiny 2. So
For Destiny 1, it was September 9th, 2014.
So I would argue, like, and I'm sure like a lot of people might want it, curious about it too, but why not maybe just push for like a new kind of Destiny, for like Destiny 3 kind of stuff, maybe get some new classes, some new stuff, do that and add some new mechanics and whatnot. Cause like they're adding so many expansions, but I know I've met some people out there that want Destiny 3. I've played Destiny 2, and I will say I'm on your side when it comes to not really being beginner friendly-ish, because I played a little while and I wasn't really sure what I was doing, but it didn't really hook me at that time. But it maybe like for newcomers, it also would be unique to jump into Destiny 3 who are like, okay, maybe this is the one I can jump into. Because it's like the same for Monster Hunter Wilds and like Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, you didn't have to play the previous ones to understand what you're doing. And in Monster Hunter Wilds, this is like the easiest one and the newest one to jump into kind of stuff. So I'm curious why we haven't gotten like a new Destiny 3 game or whatnot.
There's several problems with that. One of the problems, the main thing people want to clamor for Destiny 3 is for a quote-unquote new and better engine, because Destiny 2, I think, runs on a revamped version of their old Tiger engine.
Interesting.
Which, a new engine can help with some things. Not a lot of things, but some things.
Yeah.
The main issue as to why Destiny 3 is still unlikely, short answer would be, the short easy answer would just be to say money. Money and manpower. But right now Bungie as a company is very fragmented and running into a lot of issues due to their constant downsizing from the higher ups. Mm-hmm. And they're split between trying to keep Destiny 2 running and adding new stuff to that, while also working on the new Marathon game.
Yeah.
So there's that. Another issue and this more has to do with your comparisons to say like Baldur's Gate and Monster Hunter. That main issue is scope and scale.
Yeah.
With Monster Hunter, every new game is like a whole new thing. It's not like you're cross-playing with, other games where there's like mechanics that carry over between the two.
Yeah.
And so for the most part, yeah, and considering what the kind of game Monster Hunter is, it's a game where you fight monsters, you get loot, or you get materials, you make armor, you fight more monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's a very consistent loop. It's not hard to just get a new game and jump into it right away. And the same thing can be applied to Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 came out how many years after the last one came out? So there's definitely a large enough gap that they probably considered the fact like, okay, we're going to definitely have a lot of returning fans, but we're probably going to have a lot of new people joining in on the fun.
Yep.
So they intentionally designed it that way. And Destiny itself, at least at the time when, Destiny itself is just such a massive game that's still connected, because Destiny 2 takes place like right after Destiny 1 story-wise, even though the story for D2 is written better. But one of the biggest issues is, hold on, let me think for a moment here. I kind of forgot.
You lost yourself for a moment.
I did. I just need to think of what I was going to say. Give me a moment.
Well, while you think about that, I do want to jump back onto a comment from Dragoon talking about the EA when we were discussing them. They wanted to put Battle Pass and Dragon Age Veilguards, which I remember Veilguards went through a hard time in general too. So like it doesn't help the fact that Veilguard was originally going to be a live service game. Then they had to quickly turn the ship 180 degrees and make it into a single player game that was not going to have live service. And then they wanted to add battle passes and shenanigans like that. So Veilguard is the combination of corporate trying to throw this in here, throw this, actually change it to this kind of thing. And so that's just what Veilguard ended up becoming because of the corporate side of things. And so, yeah, EA just trying to control that ship and where it wants to go, but where they want it to go, kind of thing. You think about what you were wanting to say though, Rav?
Yeah. As for your comment as to like why not just start fresh, they technically already did that.
Really?
That's what D2 was supposed to be. Like aside from like obligations with Activision and wanting to make a certain amount of games and expansions for this 10-year plan, D2 was kind of meant to be a reset intended at new players. It's why special weapons at the time were kind of removed for double primary, and they moved all special weapons to the heavy slot. They pushed they definitely push for the PvP game mode to be a lot more competitive focused, like a lot of the other competitive shooters.
Yeah, I know I've been inside. I've been playing a little bit of competitive when I was playing, and I noticed that it's not really. When I coming from my own experience, I just kind of noticed that it was just not really too much of a difference when it come to like the guns and whatnot doing damage to each other, and I don't know if like damage qualities are just set in certain tiers or whatnot, but like
The thing is like the whole thing what they did at the beginning with year 1 D1 kind of they want to make it as beginner friendly as possible. The good, like to start off with the story and the writing for year 1 D2 with the Red War, it is a damn shame that the devs have no way of actually bringing it back just due to the engine differences. But the Red War was actually a really good campaign to start off with. Like if the Red War was an expansion for D1, I think people would have praised it as much as the Taken King personally.
interesting.
But the issue is that it almost changed too much for the casual player base. Because like sure you got a big influx of people coming in now, but at the same time, as you almost kind of said earlier, but it didn't really feel like Destiny. Like Destiny 1's PvP took off mainly for the fact that in terms of content, there wasn't a whole lot. Aside from the raid, which came out I think a week or two into after D1's launch, there just wasn't a whole lot to do. So for the most part, Destiny's survival was basically hinged on Crucible. So with the whole change, sure, you could argue that in terms of from a game balance perspective and just from a competitive shooter perspective, it was so far really well done. The problem is with higher health values and with like the higher health values and the lower TTK or the higher TTKs, which stands for time to kill. If anybody is unfamiliar with shooter terminology.
Yep. Thank you for verification. Half my fucking knee.
Basically, it just made it feel very different and not as fun, and it led to a lot of matches ending up in a very stale and slow meta, where you would just end up with teams that would just stay huddled together, team shooting constantly, and usually hiding in the back.
And that being a thing though, like being a multiplayer shooter, there's bound to be metas that people try to find and use.
Even now there's still metas, but the main issue with it is the fact that the gameplay itself promoted a very defensive and passive style of play, which not only is not a very good, it's not good game design. Your competitive games reward people for staying in the back. It leads to very frustrating and boring and long matches. But it's also the fact that it's like that's just PvP. Like as for PvE, I mean we had one raid and then we had raid layers, which were interesting. Raid layers were they were like dungeon length. Actually, I'd almost argue they were shorter than dungeons. Like there were still 6-player activities, but they were like a third of the size of a raid.
Interesting.
They were very interesting from what I remember, but I don't remember them being too fondly upon, because the rewards for them half the time were just recolored armor sets from the base raid. And it's like, okay, they kind of like a D1's or D2's launch was definitely a very hard reset for a lot of things. And honestly, if you were to go back to play D2 launch and then try to compare it to how it is now, it is a far cry.
Yo, we speaking about Far Cry?
No.
Well, as much as I would love to continue, I do also want to move on to another kind of article that we still need to get onto, which is the direct here coming up tomorrow. So I will pull up the screen here of Nintendo Switch 2.
Check out, because I don't have a Nintendo console.
Well, I mean,
still come up
you
with
can
something,
still think like you know a little bit about the Switch 1 though, right? Like have you
My sister has a Switch, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, you know a little bit about what the Switch has. So predictions as to what the Switch 2 might have here. So we've got the Direct coming up tomorrow talking about what's going to be inside the Switch 2 here and how it's going to run, all the optimizations, what it's going to come with, what the price may be even. I don't know if the price had already dropped, but I imagine it will drop there. But predictions, what do you guys think? Are there going to be things that you want, or the things that you want to have it introduce, or what do you guys think? Zeb, I'll let you start.
There's a couple of games that would be really cool to see on Switch 2. Like, they definitely are going to have either a Mario game or a Zelda game. That is 100%.
Very nice.
Because, like, how could you not? Especially for the launch of your new system, either having, say, one of the big ones is doing a remaster. A lot of people are saying Twilight Princess.
I've been wanting a Twilight Princess remake for so long, so I'm hoping that this will eventually come to fruition. Because, like,
personally, and this is just so that I could say I've bought it twice. I would love for them to re-release the Wind Waker HD collection.
That too, I would love to have that.
Wind Waker on handheld. That'd be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Wind Waker was a lot of fun when I played it.
I would say I'm on that same kind of boat, literally, because of the Wind Waker stuff. But anyway,
King of Red Lions.
I'm in agreement, because like these two games should get HDs. And the only time that they got HD remasters were on the Wii U. So the Wii U, which is now like almost a decade old, is not selling these games on the Switch or whatnot. So I mean, put these over to the Switch, because Breath of the Wild was a Wii U title as well. Like, they had a Wii U version of Breath of the Wild, but they didn't port over games like Twilight Princess HD or Wind Waker HD, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a Wii U title before it was a Nintendo Switch title. So, but now we are getting a new Mario Kart game. They did announce that.
Yes.
We did get some more information about Metroid Prime 4. It's called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I haven't been into Prime before, but I do think I should try it out soon, because it is a game series I do respect.
I really liked the original. The only one I ever really played was Metroid Prime 1. And hell, I bought the remaster they did on Switch, and oh boy, is that phenomenal.
Really? Okay. That's something to probably try out eventually then. So another thing I could say is, of course, I'm with you on the Mario and Zelda games. There's definitely going to be exclusives with that. Do you think that they'll do a Odyssey 2 kind of game? Like a game that'll try to push for an Odyssey kind of feel?
Honestly, I'd be fine with that.
I'd be fine with it too, because I personally enjoyed Odyssey a lot, and it felt like a big love letter mixed with a fun, unique kind of take in the Mario kind of series and whatnot. Rev, so when it comes to your experiences with the Switch or just Nintendo games, what would you kind of want to see come back in as like a Nintendo property if you haven't, or just something in general?
I mean, I imagine there's going to be some showcases for Trails in the Sky First Chapter and Trails in the Beyond the Horizon, so I'm hoping we get some confirmed release dates for the two.
Mm-hmm.
As for new games, technically this counts because it was available only for the DS at the time, but I kind of hope we get an announcement for Mega Man Star Force Collection. Because we haven't
Ooh.
heard anything ever since Battle Network Collection dropped a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Speaking
So,
of other kind of games that dropped, Dragon Quest is getting a remake. I know the Dragon Quest, they've been doing directs for a little while talking about those games, and it seems like Dragon Quest 1 through 3 is getting remade onto the Switch. So if you guys are interested into that,
I never played the Dragon Quest games.
I've only played the Dragon Quest 11 personally, but
I haven't played any.
I know that series is like really popular over. It's so funny because Final Fantasy is well loved over on the West side, but the East doesn't like Final Fantasy as much as the West. But Dragon Quest is well loved over in the East side, and not as much on the West side, kind of thing. It's one of those kind of stories, you know.
Yeah.
But you were saying, Rev, any other kind of things?
No, just mainly those three. I can't really think of anything that Nintendo would really announce that I'd be interested in. The only reason I mention those because I know that like it's possible that they'd be featured on Nintendo Direct, but I also know they'd be for other consoles.
Nice. Now, I mentioned this before, and this is something that they announced about a week ago with their Nintendo Direct before this upcoming thing. So Nintendo is going to be pushing a new software update, software update, I should say. Anyway, it's going to, whenever you buy a game on the eShop now, you're going to get a digital copy, and they're calling it like a digital cartridge kind of thing now. So what they're trying to do is it's like having a digital copy of your game, but you can give it to like another account and send it to another person's account, and it'll automatically come back to your account after 2 weeks. So in a way, you can share your games with a friend, and after 2 weeks, that game goes right back to your account.
That's kind of weird, honestly.
It sounds weird, but I personally think that they play the cards right with that, it might work because it's one of those things where it's like you want to share, give this game to your friend kind of thing. Okay, here, I'll let you play it for a little while. And if you don't return it, it'll just automatically come back to me kind of thing, you know?
It's funny, too, you say that, because the only person that I'll really lend games to is my buddy Callum. Mm-hmm. And I could just walk to his place, because it's not even a 10-minute walk from my place to his. Mm-hmm. So I would just walk over, throw the game at him, leave, and then if he wants to throw it back at me at some point, he can. If not, I'm not really going to be upset if I don't get it back.
Yeah, like the big thing with this.
It would make sense for like a single player game. Say someone wants to play, like Rav said, someone wants to play something like Sky First Chapter, but they don't want to spend the money on it. So you end up buying the game, you give them the digital whatever the fuck, and then they play it for the 2 weeks. They enjoy it, they beat it, and then they're just like, well, now I'm good. I don't need to buy it. I beat the game.
I feel like that almost ruined the purpose because the whole thing is like they want you to buy games.
Well, I want to say it's more like one weird way to kind of give digital more of a unique reason to try pushing for more digital, and another way is like provide. I guess in a way too, because they were kind of explaining it. It could also be a way to preserve games in that sense through the means of digital. I'm not too sure about that one. Don't quote me on that. But it's one of those kind of things where it'll be on your account and you can like transfer it through to other switches pretty easy or whatnot too. So the more information will come out and we'll understand this more once it fully comes out too. It might be mentioned tomorrow as well. So, but yeah, in a way, they're they're calling it like the digital cartridge. So check that out, and we might learn some more information about that. But anyway, so with the Switch 2, it is not going to do what the original Switch had. So to remind everybody what the Switch 1 would do, if you had the Joy-Con controllers, they would slide into a controller kind of thing with a little rail kind of piece. So you slide it from the top all the way to the bottom.
Nice clicking sound.
Nice little click, yep. So for this one, this is going to be magnetic controlled. I don't know if I like the fact that it's going to be magnetic fully yet, but I have to see the controller itself here because
it depends on how well it's done.
Exactly, because like how strong is that magnet?
Because from the look of it, the connector piece looks like it would snap in fucking half if you apply any pressure to it.
Uh-huh.
From what I've heard, it's actually a little flexible. But therein lies the second problem. What if you bend it too much and it sticks to that shape?
Exactly. If it's questionable. It's one of the, and another thing is like the Joy-Con controllers, or just in general too, this is going to go onto like your Switch. So this is how whenever you put it onto the Switch, they're going to connect to the sides of the screen and whatnot. Then you lift it up and play. So once you are playing in handheld mode, what's stopping you from accidentally pulling too hard on the controller, you dropping your Switch? You know what I mean? Because, like, the rails kept it in check, so you would not drop that. But with these magnets, they have to be strong enough to understand that people will probably fidget with this. And you'll probably have accidents where oops, I pulled a little too hard and my Switch just fell onto the ground. So I want to see how truly strong this will be, but I'm not giving it any flack for it. I just hope that it's not going to be flimsy. Because, like, even when Nintendo had the issue with like Pro controllers having drift problems. And that was the only real big issue I known outside of my personal thing is I feel like the controllers are too small. But that's, I don't know. Like, I'm hoping that this will still be a really great product one way or the other when it comes to accessibility through the magnet means now.
There'll only be really one way to find out, and that's when it comes out, and you wait a couple of weeks before you, or you wait a month or so before you buy one. Because if you buy one and it turns out that it's a crock of shit, then that helps no one.
Or you jump on it immediately because scalpers will try to jump on it immediately too, and
that is also true. Personally, I'm fine with waiting. I have my ROG. I can play. I'm like right now the entire time. I have not. I was originally going to stop playing Origins once we started doing this. I have not stopped playing Assassin's Creed Origins since, and it is running gloriously.
So another thing here, the Switch, the first Switch runs 720 on handheld mode, and then 1080 on dock mode. What do you guys think? Will they push a 1080 on handheld and then push for like something 4K on TV? Or do you guys think that they'll play it safe with these? Because
they're probably going to play it safe. It is Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they prefer a more consistent experience rather than a potential high-end one.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing is the Switch 2 had the first Switch had a bunch of parts. I think one thing that comes to mind is like a NVIDIA chip that was outdated. No, it was a ROG chip that was inside the Switch that was actually outdated. So I want to see if they'll be getting parts that are more brand new that won't like be a little outdated within like the 2 years that the Switch 2 will be out. So I'm curious about that myself.
It'll definitely be interesting to see.
Exactly. I don't have any real problems of my Switch. The only thing that my Switch has an issue with is the kickstand. I have the original version of the Switch, so it doesn't have like the whole back doing the kickstand. So it's like the little dab piece there that you kick out, and mine's just loose. But I'm curious. I wonder if they'll just have the whole Switch 2 have like the full back be able to flip out, but we'll see more about that tomorrow. Well, all right. I personally, unless anyone else has any kind of predictions for the Switch 2 that they kind of want to mention, I've said my piece pretty much right now. Oh, before we switch off here, though, what do you guys think? Get it, because he said PlayStation.
Fuck, I unironically love those jokes so much.
Really?
Yeah, it's such a simple joke, but it's really fucking funny when someone makes it.
I don't know why, but it has like the same energy of when we were playing Helldivers and gaming kept messing up the Terminids, calling them
Tyranids.
Yeah, and then I remember you started laughing hysterically because because in response to that I just said Tyrannoids, and you barely laughed at that. I'm like, was that really so funny?
Well, before we switch off, and anyway, what do you guys think it's going to be for the price here? And your guys' opinion so what's the Switch running over there in Canada? Do you guys know what the usual going for one?
Now, actually, I'm curious myself.
It doesn't run. It actually just plays stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah,
This is a
It walks.
It's awkward.
Fuck. I must be behind the curve with my Switch. Why can't mine run?
I mean, you definitely are. But...
All right, let's see here. Just the console.
Because I know over in the States, not the Lite, the Nintendo Switch Lite, because I think the Nintendo Switch Lite runs $200. Here in the States,
Canada, for just the base Switch, you're looking at about $400, at least via Best Buy.
Okay.
Gosh, the TV I want to get is cheaper.
So, in your guys' predictions over for Canada, what do you guys think the Switch 2 will be for price-wise?
I would guess somewhere between probably $460 to $500.
Really? I was gonna say around 600, give or take.
Considering the PS5 went for $600 when it first released, I wouldn't put the Switch quite that high in pricing.
So let me double check the
Switch usually tends to be like $100 or so cheaper than the two bigger consoles.
So let me check the Nintendo Switch pricings right now over in the States here. So currently a Nintendo Switch, at least through Amazon, is running a $268 or just $260 at Walmart. So, and that's just standard. That's not OLED. So I want to say
the OLED ones that I'm looking at are the 400. But then again, those are the only ones that are popping up on Best Buy for me right now.
Yeah. OLED models are. Says here on Walmart, a white OLED version is $289. So I want to say a Switch Switch 2 will probably run $350. I can see $350. At least in US dollar. So, but yeah,
US dollar reduce.
Well, and then also I don't know if they had it mentioned or said anything about it, but let me pull it up here real quick as we probably end off here soon. But I want to make sure we don't already know a release date yet.
I know a lot of people are saying April or May, I believe.
Ooh, that early? Of next year? Or?
This year. I think some of them were in summer as well, so, you know.
I was gonna say, because I don't know. It doesn't say that there's any.
Those are mostly predictions, though, to be fair.
Exactly. I believe that if we don't hear about it soon, they might be releasing it closer to the holiday. So it'll probably be more of a holiday kind of thing.
That would also do well.
It'll probably come out around October, so that when you go, so when like Black Friday comes out, you'll get the Black Friday deal. Hey, there's a chance that you can get like $20 off of the Nintendo Switch 2. Bet. And boom, there you go, pretty much. I could see that, but well, who knows? What do you think, Rev? Do you think it'll be close to the beginning of the year, or middle of the year, or near the end of the year, or next year?
I could not tell you, honestly.
Yes.
Like I said,
Take a guess.
like-
Any guess.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Cloaker.
It just depends. It depends on like. I mean, if they might, I imagine they'd probably announce it. This direct here.
Yeah, for sure.
But honestly, I don't have enough info. Proper guess. Because like there's so many factors that could dictate when a console could release.
Right.
Like obviously, like the obvious answer would be like holiday season, because like all parents are gonna buy gifts for all their kids.
Right. And it'll
They
definitely.
also have to factor what games are coming out when too. They might want to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. And it also would probably guarantee when to bounce back for like the holiday release. It'll definitely be a sell around holidays, because that's your first time getting it. So
Yeah, most consoles tend to release around holiday period. I'm pretty sure actually every console has released during holidays.
well, those are our predictions here. And pretty much all the news headlines I got personally myself. Rav, Zab, did we have any?
That was more or less everything I had, too.
Rav, anything?
I don't know. I can't say I have any like room news articles to talk about. But I mean, just yap.
Well, alrighty. Well, now that we've got all the news articles and stuff out of the way, we'll go ahead and call it right here and there. So those are our predictions of the Nintendo Switch and a bunch of the leaks that we've had here. So we're gonna call it right there for the podcast here. Thank you guys again so much for joining in for a very special podcast of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct and the news articles and all the possible rumors that we've heard and Destiny 2 stuff here. But we're gonna call it right there. Vav, do you have anything to say before we head on out of here?
No, nothing that I haven't already mentioned earlier. And my next stream will be on Friday night, playing some more Daybreak 2.
Awesome. And Zab, anything on your end, man?
Not particularly. I'll be mostly just playing X or Y game, and then that's about it.
Alrighty. And then for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, tune on in as the plan is still to play Split Fiction with Disco. I haven't really caught up with him just yet, so I'll message him tonight to make sure we are able to play that. But tune on in for that. If not, then we'll be jumping into the Yakuza game early then. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. But we'll call it right there. Hope you guys have a fantastic night, day, wherever you guys are. And we'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned for the raid and take care.
Bye-bye.
Later.